and gentlemen, we are delighted that you made your way here tonight to the Visitor Center. You braved the weather, and I'm sure you'll be so glad that you did. Welcome to the Washington, D.C. Temple Visitor Center. My name is Sister Chapel. My husband, Elder Chapel, and I are the directors here at the Visitor Center. What a privilege for us to host this kind of an event. We're delighted to be here.
And you truly get extra credit for coming tonight with the weather obstacles, but we are so glad to see you here. For your safety, we would like to point out the 4 exits from the theater. In addition to the 2 at the top that you came in from, we have exits at floor level on each side, but these doors go directly outside. So only in case of a true emergency will you want to use those. We would also take this opportunity to remind you to turn off or silence your cell phones. And we hope that following the performance tonight, you have a few minutes to go back up to the main area of the Visitor Center and enjoy some of the exhibits and sites that we have for you there. We have a number of young missionary volunteers who will be happy to answer any questions you have or even take you on a brief tour. As is customary for events here in the Visitor Center, we like to begin with an opening prayer. And we've asked one of our young missionaries, Elder Statham, who is all the way from Virginia. He grew up here actually and then moved to Utah and then got called on a mission back here to his home territory. So he will be giving our opening prayer tonight.
我们在街上的服务，我们非常大家能安全来到这个访客中心，我们真的感谢这个京剧能为我们做这个晚会，我们希望大家能够享受这个美好的时间，那我们都能跟家人还有朋友有很好的晚上。 当我们结束的时候，前夫我们想祈求您祝福我们都会有安全的回家。我们所说是奉耶稣基督的名，阿门。
So tonight we are delighted to have the Beijing Opera New Year concert. My husband and I have visited China several times and fell in love with the culture and the people and the food. And tonight we get to see the costumes and the makeup and the music. It's extraordinary. So please join me in welcoming the Beijing Opera.
Thank you. Indeed, we all should be grateful to God for His wonderful creation, the beautiful nature, and all the different artistic products created by human with the intelligence and the wisdom given from God. Thank you very much for coming to our DC Beauty of Beijing Opera's event tonight. And I'm pretty sure that I can say that the Beijing Opera is one of the wonderful artistic product given from God. And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Cynthia Young. I am today's narrator. I am a member of DCBBO. We call us DCBBO, which stands for DC Beauty of Beijing Opera. And tonight we have old friends and new friends. And we are very grateful that for old friends, they continue to support us for what we have been doing to promote Beijing Opera to non-Chinese speaking audience. And to new friends, we are very excited to be here to meet you and to demonstrate the art and the beauty of Beijing Opera by presenting several classic pieces to you tonight. Now, before we started, I would like to take several minutes to give a very brief introduction of Beijing Opera. Traditionally, Beijing Opera is called a Peking Opera. Now, more and more people call it a Beijing Opera. Thank you. Started more than 200 years ago in Beijing, which is called Beiping at that time. is the capital city of China. At that time, 4 local opera troupes from Anhui province went to Beijing to celebrate Emperor Qianlong's 80th birthday, and they stayed there, and that is the beginning of the Beijing Opera. And throughout the Qing dynasty, the royal family had been a big fans of Beijing Opera, and their support, which helped make the Beijing Opera the most popular performing art in the country ever since then. And I also would say Beijing Opera is the best representative of all Chinese traditional operas, and I can tell you that there are more than 300 Chinese traditional operas in different places. Next slide, please. So we DCBPO have done several dozens of workshops to non-Chinese speaking audience across the Washington metropolitan area. The feedback we received is that with the audience, they would say, "Oh, it's beautiful," particularly the colorful costume and very colorful, heavy makeup. But to them, they say that it's very foreign. It's kind of hard to understand. That is exactly what I want to talk about a little bit, the uniqueness of Beijing Opera. Beijing Opera is very different from all the Western style operas. It's performer-centered. And everything you want to watch on Peking Opera on the stage is how skillful a performer is in terms of singing and acting. So that's why Peking Opera performers, they usually started training at a very young age, like under 10 years old, and it can take up to 10 years for a performer to get ready to on stage. And one very foreign things you will see on Peking Opera is that for female roles, the performer use falsetto for singing and speaking. It's different from the Western type of operas. And the acting style or the performing style, we call it unrealistic. That means that you will not see the real life movement on stage. But everything you see on the stage is based on the real life, but it's more beautiful, more elegant. I can give you a little bit demonstration. Like opening the door, very simple movement. You will see this. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of formula. All the performers need to be trained, very skillful, and every time they do opening the door, they have to follow this 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. And the audience will know that there is no door frame on the stage, no door, but based on what the performer is doing, the audience will understand, okay, she's opening the door. And another thing I would like you to guess, and I will invite Mr. Zhao Fei, one of the instructors to our Beijing Opera members. And I would like him to come here to give another demonstration, and I will ask you if you understand what he's doing. He's not going to do anything killing. Thank you, Mr. Zhao. So, how many people want to give a guess what he just did?
Opening the door.
Opening the door, you're exactly right. And what he was doing is show you in the completely darkness, the person used a knife and want to open a door, want to do some robbery. So he was using the knife kind of from the top because he does not know where the door latch is. So he kind of from the up and coming down to touch where the door latch is, and then you see that he's doing this. So it's opening the door latch and then open the door. So this is one part of the Sanchako. It's a pretty famous Peking opera in terms of just totally, completely acting. There's no singing in that piece. So that is type of Beijing opera performance. Everything you do, you need to strictly follow 1, 2, step 4 or 5, the steps. And all the performers, they need to be very skillfully trained. And of course, why it takes so many years for a performer to get ready on the stage? Because everything they do on stage should show the beauty of their acting. If they can do things like I can do things like this, but the audience won't feel that the performer is doing beautifully. So that's why they want to be trained very skillfully in acting and also singing. That's why it's very difficult for the performers. I call this a formula. It's a very high, extremely high requirement of physical training. Need to start it in a very young age. As I said, that everything you see on the stage, you should feel it is beautiful in terms of singing, moving, or martial arts, or whatever. So everything works together to achieve the single goal, beauty of singing and acting. Sometimes the plot is not that important. So that's why I said the Peking opera is performer-centered. If the performer is very skillful, they can totally ignore the plot. The story does not really play the most important role in Peking opera. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so today you are going to see our New Year concert, and we thank Sister Chapo and Sister Shen for inviting us to be here. And today's event is a cooperation of the DC BBO members and professional Beijing opera performers. And we have 3 members of DC BBO to present their best pieces to you. And in addition to that, we are very honored to have several professional Beijing opera performers with us. They are Mr. Li Sizu, Ms. Zhang Shiying, and most excitedly, we have Mr. Ma Shaoliang with us. Mr. Ma Shaoliang, he is also our artistic director for today's event. He is one of the most outstanding and respected Wenwu Laosheng in today's Beijing opera. Wenwu Laosheng, Chinese Wenwu Laosheng, and means that the adult male roles with expertise in both singing and martial play. So it's very hard. Some very good opera performers, they specialize in singing. Of course, they have the basic training in physical movement. But for Wenwu Lao, so you really need to be very good on both. So it's very hard to be a good Wenwu Lao Shen. And Mr. Ma Shaoliang is one of the best. And he is 76 this year. So he is the winner of National Plum Blossom Award, which is the highest award for theoretical performers in China. And he is the student of Master Li Shaochun, one of the best-known Peking opera performers. Okay, and I think next slide, please. So I do not want to take too much of your time listening to my talking. So let's start. And the first piece of today's show is a martial arts display. The instructor is Mr. Zhao Fei. You just watched his demonstration. Let's welcome. you enjoy this? Do you know they only learned for 10 lessons? So of course, I just said that to be a professional Peking opera performer, it takes years, up to 10 years, to get all this physical training very skillfully done. The next one is humanity and justice, and in Chinese it's called 情相连. 情相连 is the name of the female character in this piece. So 情相连, 闯宫, humanity and justice. It's about a fighting couple's dialogue between husband and a wife. A lot of things happened between the husband and the wife. The Chen Shimei is the name of the husband. And to Chinese people, and probably some of you, if you can speak Chinese, Chen Shimei is kind of a name, a household name. When you say you are like Chen Shimei, that means you're a male, you're a husband, and you are a cold-hearted husband that forsake your wife to seek fame and fortune. So if you say Chen Shimei, it's really, you need to be careful. It's not really a good thing. So what happened between the husband and the wife? Let's watch.
相连，你不在家中侍奉二老，到京城做什么来了？
难道你不曾见我身穿孝服末？二老公婆下世去了。
啊，爹娘！ 天相连，只苦等。做了梁，男人我们当，走向前，向他三人。
And Ms. Huang Louisa Huang. Louisa Huang is another member of DCPBO. Mr. Li Sizu is a professional Beijing opera performer. And as you watch, that they use, even though they're not a lot of movement, but you see that it's all based on very skillfully trained physical movement. For Lao Sheng, like Mr. Li Sizu just played, and when he comes out, the very, very basic one skill you need to learn is that when you take one step, you need to show the bottom of the high heel boots. And this is not easy. To make the audience feel, well, it's, he's doing beautifully or professionally, it takes a while to get this trained. And Louisa Huang, and she has been practicing picking opera for years, as all DCPBO members have done. And they did a very good job. So next piece will be presented by Zhang Shiying, and she is another professional Peking opera performer. She's young, and she just graduated from George Mason University with a master's degree. And she graduated from the National Academy of Chinese Traditional Theater Arts. And she is going to play a role of a female soldier, which requires a lot of body movement. And you can look at her outfit and the movement, her walking on the stage, very difficult. but you will see that everything she's showing on the stage is very beautiful. Let's enjoy. Shi-Ying. After watching her performance, probably you understand why I say it takes so many years for a professional performer to get ready on stage. So in the beginning, the first part of her performance, you see that she didn't say anything, but a lot of movements that's showing her skillful movement to show that she's checking if her is ready for the battle. So the design is a kind of very delicate, and sometimes you do need to understand what is the story about it to understand what she is doing on stage. Next one. It is a Drunken Beauty. I would say this is probably the best known Peking opera classic even to Chinese audience, and it's a masterpiece of Mei Lanfang. And I don't know how many people have heard of Mei Lanfang, but Mei Lanfang is the greatest Peking opera artist in Peking opera history. He came to the United States in the year of 1930, and he traveled in this country for 7 months. He performed in Hawaii, in Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, and Washington, D.C. It was a big success. I would say, Peking opera, when we talk about the Peking opera, you cannot ignore him. He is the biggest name. And today, the Drunken Beauty, Sarah Xie is one of our members, DCBBO members. She has been practicing Peking opera for probably 50 years. So she's very skillful. She's still learning. And the one thing I want you to notice that we are going to have a live orchestra for this piece, and that is the only live orchestra you are going to see for today. And for a successful Peking opera performance, I would say a good live orchestra takes 50% of the credit. So let's enjoy, you see that orchestra members, and they are coming to the stage, and you will have the lyrics, you will understand what she is singing, and everybody what they are talking. Let's enjoy.
九句龙凤诀，
庭前不言花，
深宫当日间，
终老帝王家，
咱家裴力士，
大家高力士，
高公爷请。
裴公爷请。
今日杨娘娘不花厅饮宴，你我小心伺候。
是。看香烟缭绕，娘娘奉驾来也，你我分班伺候，请。
you, our wonderful orchestra members. Hope you enjoyed it. So now is the time for us to meet Mr. Ma Shaoliang. Mr. Ma is going to present two pieces for tonight's event. In the first one, he is going to play the role of a depressed hero. The hero's name is Ling Chong. Ling Chong, he is brutally framed and wrongly prosecuted and is forced to leave his beloved wife and to go to a faraway place. So Mr. Ma Shaoliang is going to use his skillful singing to tell what Ling Chong wants to say. So let's enjoy it and welcome Mr. Ma Shaoliang.
Thank you.
九泉，是为何天云水秋风光？天哪天！莫非你也怕权奸？
But he's still, every day he practices singing and his body training. So it's wonderful to watch and listen to your singing and acting. And he has a second piece. And the second piece is a duet. It's a very famous duet from 四郎探母. It's a classic Peking opera piece. And we will invite our DCBBO member Wang Mei to come out, and they are going to present you unforgettable singing. And this story is about also a dialogue between husband and wife. And the wife, Miss Wang Mei, and she is a princess in the country. And Mr. Ma Shaoliang is going to play a role that her husband is a famous general from the enemy country. And the husband got arrested after a defeated battle. He hid his true identity and married the princess. And it'll become a couple for 15 years without telling the wife who he was. But now he has to reveal his true identity. Let's listen to their singing. you know that the painting you see on the screen is Ma Lao's work. So he is really an artist. Thank you very much. That is the end of today's show, and we are very happy to meet you here, and I hope that everybody you had an unforgettable evening. And we would like to invite all the performers to be on stage and take pictures with us. Wang Dan, Wang Tai. Wang Xiuru, Li Sizu.赵飞老师在哪里？赵飞老师。谢谢大家。Thank you everybody to come to today's event in this nasty weather. And we wish everybody Happy New Year. 新年快乐，虎年快乐。